Hi guys, this video is going to be a response to a question I got in one of my recent homeschool videos where someone asked if it would be possible for me to go into a little bit more details as to why it is I have stopped using writing rhetoric. I think it's a fair question because I have spoken quite highly of this curriculum, specifically when it comes to my eldest using it. She's the one that uses this curriculum. I use something else with my 3rd and my 5th graders. I did try to respond via text, but it was just turning out into an essay. So I decided to try to make a shorter video because I did mention a little bit as to why we're going to stop in the second video linked above, but I'm going to go into a little bit more details in this video. Firstly, we actually haven't stopped as yet. I am using book 5, Refutation and Confirmation, with my 8th grader, and but unfortunately after this one we have finally made the decision to stop, and it's for a number of reasons. But before I go into those, I want to say that I really wished that we had found this earlier on in her homeschool journey, but I was growing as a homeschooler myself, not having gone to school here and discovering curriculum along the way. But even with that said, when we did discover it, I really had the intentions of us trying to see if we can, move through it a little faster. This is with me having no experience with the curriculum as yet. I was hoping that we would have been able to move through a little bit faster, but just life, things that we had to manage alongside, daily stuff. It just made that challenging in the beginning in her 4th grade year. And then even as we continued and I gained a little bit more experience using the curriculum, I realized this is not going to be a curriculum that we are going to be able to speed through for her to get the benefits of it. So I discovered that. Plus, she does really enjoy doing the activities in this because writing, she loves to write. She's a natural writer. So because she enjoyed doing it, which in my opinion meant that her actually taking the time to do the activities in detail, with a lot of details and spending the time like really digging into it, I didn't want to rush her through that. And that's especially when we started, specifically like in narrative, when we got into narrative, because fable we didn't do much of it because it came pretty easy to her. All right, so that's I wish we could have discovered it earlier, and even though I hoped that we would have done enough to kind of catch up, that just didn't work out. And before I get into the other points, I also want to say that I do agree with Kathy Duffy's review that this might be graded a little bit tough. I'm no professional, but that's my opinion, and I agree with Kathy Duffy, and my daughter actually agrees as well, and she's the one actually doing it. But that being said, it's an excellent curriculum, but we will be moving on. All right, so one of the main reasons within the recent year, last year, is my daughter has changed her mind with her stance on if she wants to, go to college or not. So in my homeschool, I try not to overly focus on like grades, especially in the elementary years, what grade the book is, and I've learned that over the years, but more so to find something that fits for them. And I definitely implement that with my 2 younger ones, my 3rd grader and my 5th grader, especially with my 5th grader, who I've shared as well has some, we have to do that, and we do have to, and we do implement that with her. As my eldest has gotten older, and she has now within the last year expressed that she is interested in possibly going to college, it has caused me to rethink my stance on this curriculum in particular, because most of everything else actually that she's doing is grade specific. Now, I am not an expert. I don't know if it's going to 100% cause an issue for her when she, if she decides to go down that route. But as I call myself a facilitator, I don't want that to become an issue. Now, I don't think if community college is the route, and we're not exactly sure what direction as yet, but I'm just trying to remove anything that might be an issue. I really don't think that if it is she ends up going to community college that is going to cause an issue. And I feel confident saying that after discovering CHESP. CHESP is an exam that they can sit out here in California, where it's basically an exam testing them on language arts and math, and then they can just go basically get into college. They don't even have to have like a high school diploma or anything like that, or a GED or anything like that. And with that information, I really don't think that if they did a grade specific book in high school is going to cause a huge issue if they're trying to go to community college. That's how I feel, at least at this point. But if it is they're trying to get into go straight to 4-year college, I'm not going to say in a video that I'm 100% sure that it's going to cause an issue, but based on recent research that I have done, it seemed like it might, depending on the college that they may want to go to. And I don't want that to be a hindrance in preventing her from any possible, opportunities. So that is one of the main reasons within the last year, because before she wasn't sure if she wanted to go down that route. And it's because she has other interests that doesn't necessarily require her to go down that route. And I allowed her the time to kind of think it through, and that's where we're at now. So that's probably the main reason. Another reason is that over time, as she has grown as an individual and as she has kind of come into the style of writing that she's really interested in, she's more interested in fictional writing. And it's not that she doesn't enjoy the activity, she still does. Actually, just last week now, she did an outline for one of the exercises within this refutation and confirmation on the back of some scrap paper, and she created a scroll out of it because it was like 3 papers long. I'll see if she'll be willing to share it, and I'll insert it here. So she does enjoy doing the activities, however, over time, because her interest is more in line with fictional writing, and I have been doing research and trying to find resources for her in her, when she's doing her own, personal writing to help her with that. But because of that, she has expressed that she would like to try something that is probably more in that line. And I have found something, and I printed out the sample for her, and she's actually pretty excited to try it. So we're going to give that a try, and it is recommended for high schoolers, so that works out as well. I'm not sure if she may love it, she may not love it, but she's excited to do it now, and that's why we are going to go down that route, which kind of ties into the fact that over time, as I said, she enjoyed doing the activities, but her level of excitement is not the same. Is that absolutely important? Probably not. But with all my kids, I try as much as possible. If it's an area that they truly love, then if I can, keep that high level of interest going, I try to. And for each of them is different. For her, one of the areas is, it just happens to be within her regular subjects, and it's writing. The child loves to write. So if she is losing interest in the book, and especially if she's getting into high school years, I don't think it's necessary for her to force and continue with it. So it has nothing to do with the quality of the curriculum. It's a great curriculum, and I wish we found it earlier. Because maybe we could have been wrapping it up by now, and then she could still, delve into discovering, going into something that deals more with fictional writing. Also, and this is just I think is a minor point, but as she's gotten older as well, she wants, I want to be careful as I say this. She loves the curriculum, but not being able to find, a lot of stories that she can relate to in any way. I think that has affected how much she really enjoys the curriculum as well. Am I saying that that's going to be possible, or is even going to take place in the next curriculum that we use? Probably not. But it is a factor. So if she's going to at least enjoy the fact that it's dealing with fictional writing, even if it's nothing that she can necessarily relate to, it's still going to be, a better choice for her. So all of that being said, because we didn't finish, the classical writing style, and I do see some advantage of her, getting exposure to the entire style of classical writing. That's what led me down the route of trying to see if I can find the entire program system within one book. And that's how I discovered Eileen Cunningham's book. So that's not her main curriculum. Actually, with my younger two, on a week, well, just on a Saturday, for 30 minutes, and our schedule is 3 weeks on, 1 week off, and we've done that for 2 cycles thus far. And on that week off, we spend 45 minutes between Monday to Friday. So we've done that for 2 weeks, and then every Saturday I do 30 minutes on a Saturday, 45 minutes for those, on that week off. And I'm using the classical quills one with I said I was going to use it with my 5th grader, but I'm doing it with my 3rd and 5th grader. So it's just just to expose them to it. And my eldest, she is using the Writing the Classical Way, the book 3, which is recommended for 9th and 10th graders. She skimmed through a lot of it, and she's just dabbling within the exercise, the program exercises that she is not going to cover in writing rhetoric. Not to go into extreme detail, but just to give her exposure, because I think it's going to help her with her being able to convince her writers, because I think that's what the classical style, it kind of focuses on, how it is to, I guess, prepare them for rhetoric, prepare them to be able to write in a convincing way without having to say, you should believe this. And I am learning more about this as I had to dig up into it more for her. So I'm not going to go too much into that, because when we used quite a bit of it, I'll come back at some later date and, kind of share more on that. But what I will say though, is that I really do prefer this, my daughter does as well. I do prefer the way how this one, and even because I went overboard this year with writing, even the way how classical composition is presented. I like how the stories have been, so to speak, adapted to more modern English, whereas the stories within Eileen Cunningham's book, they kind of retain a lot of that old English. Not saying it's necessarily a bad thing, but it does make it a little bit more challenging to understand. But I'll share more about that in a later video. But I do like the writing rhetoric, even above. I don't have a lot of experience. I don't have much experience at all with the classical composition, just kind of skimming through it. But I do like the way how the writing rhetoric is presented. It is user-friendly, it is teacher-friendly. It doesn't require me to have a degree in teaching or, be a writing teacher to be able to use it with her. And I really love that. That's why this is one of the curriculums that, even though she's very independent, we actually still do together. And I think that kind of wraps up all of, the reasons that we are moving on to something else. So that's my reasons. That's why we are moving on. Hopefully this video was helpful. If you do have any further questions, feel free to ask them, and if I can, I will respond to them as soon as possible. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll talk to you in another one. Bye.